Yeah, we are live now.
Okay. Welcome back to Cyber Talk with Cyber GRC. I'm your host Vidya, and today we are diving into one of the most critical transformation happening across factories and industrial operation: the rise of AI. As manufacturers lean on AI for quality control, uh, predictive maintenance, supply chain optimization, robotics, and worker safety, the risks are growing just as fast as the opportunity. In this episode, we will unpack how organization can build strong AI governance framework that ensures safety, reliability, compliance, and trust while still scaling innovation on the factory floor. If you are into manufacturing or operation leadership, this is the episode you can't afford to miss. So let's begin with our first question. Why does manufacturing need AI governance now more than ever?
It's a very good question to start with, actually. So nowadays, a lot of AI is being introduced into the manufacturing industries, right? So basically, the manufacturing is now moving from automation to autonomous decision making. Okay, they are trying to,
Hmm.
have predictive maintenance of machines. For example, predictive maintenance means when exactly do the machines need the maintenance. They want to have a predictive maintenance of that. They want the schedules to be analyzed beforehand. They want, quality checks, computer vision based quality checks. They want robotic arms basically adjusting their own path. They want scheduling and optimization algorithms for the scheduling of the tasks, and they are basically, monitoring the worker safety as well. So for all these things nowadays, because see, whether the risk exposure is very high here. Okay, because you know that in manufacturing there are a lot of safety incidents, production downtime, data quality issues are there. So that is where, because of the risk, exposure being very high, AI governance is very important. Okay, so that and you have a proper control on the AI. You have auditable AI. You have a risk-based framework, for working with AI, and basically you can trace all the AI decisions, so that you can have a safe operating environment. Okay, along with accountability and transparency, like we always discussed. So in a manufacturing in space, I don't think that manufacturing basically can't afford AI going wrong, because otherwise it will be a
Hmm.
huge disruption for them. So every
True.
minute of downtime in the manufacturing will actually affect their revenue. Okay, for example, consider Amazon. So Amazon would have definitely, manufacturing units and manufacturing plants. So you see the amount and density of volume that the Amazon is dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Even if a downtime of half an hour, would be a huge impact on all the deliverables. So that is where manufacturing, AI plays a very critical role there.
My next question is, what are the foundational pillars of AI governance framework for manufacturing?
So foundational pillars will basically remain the same, like we, always discuss, because for AI, foundational pillars will not change. Okay, so it will start with the AI life cycle processes. Okay, like we always discuss, whether the manufacturing and operations unit are following the life cycle processes or not. Where is the data coming from? Is the model trained properly or not? Is the testing being done properly or not? Is the deployment being monitored or not? And how is the retirement happening? All these questions they have to ask now. Okay, and most importantly, again, doing an impact assessment of the AI model. Okay, performing a risk assessment, so that we can have safety, quality, environmental assurance, and assurance on the individual and human factors also. So all those things are very important, and more important, I think in this case would be the quality of data, because again data governance plays a huge role here, Vidya. For example, we use a lot of sensors in the manufacturing units. A lot of sensors are being used. So what is the
Okay.
data quality of the sensors being used? Okay, how is the data being labeled? How is the data being processed for the sensors? All these things play a very important role for the AI model to be, governed. And then on top of that, we need to have proper model governance, where we need to have proper versioning, documentation, and change control on the AI model, especially for the manufacturing and operational space. So yeah, all these are basically important to without compromising safety or reliability, in the manufacturing space, because manufacturing is all about safety. Even a small thing goes here and there, safety is one of the biggest concerns for them.
Okay. Before moving forward, I would like to tell the audience if they have any kind of question, Carrie, they can feel free to ask, because unless and until you won't ask the question, we won't get it what topic you are understanding and what you are not. So please feel free. And yeah, let's move on to the next question. How is AI risk different from traditional operational risk in manufacturing?
So this is a very good question. Now, first of all, we need to understand what are the traditional risks in actually manufacturing. So these are basically the traditional risks that I want to cover first of
Hmm.
all. So if you see on the screen, Vidya, these are basically the traditional manufacturing and operational risk. For example, we have complex supply chain issues. Okay, we have
Hmm.
massive data generation, we have regulatory pressure, we have increasing cyber attacks. Legacy infrastructure is one of the major issues where old machines are being integrated, and the risk increases. Reliance on automation, okay, where model
Yeah.
failure can actually halt the entire production. I told you, like, if small thing, if stopped working, the entire supply chain gets stopped. So interconnected systems are there. Attack on one system can spread easily across all the other systems, and
Hmm.
human error is there, third party dependencies are there. So all these are basically the traditional manufacturing and operational related risk. Okay, and in order to overcome these risks, we basically have the AI models. So in the AI models now, basically these are the AI applications in manufacturing, and these are the AI governance and critical applications. So basically these are the areas where you have now AI being applied. So this is the areas where AI is being applied in the manufacturing. You see, basically for predictive maintenance, for production planning, for energy optimization, for supply chain forecasting, for process optimization, for emissions tracking, especially, okay, for automated assembly, for worker safety. Okay, worker safety is very important, as I already mentioned. Inventory management also you can use AI, and for quality inspection. So these are all the relative AI applications. So this is how you now see a shift, okay, on the screen. Vidya, this is now, as you see, more and more reliability and more dependency towards AI now in this particular manufacturing environment. Nowadays we are depending more and more on the AI applications. Okay, so this is where the new risk will now emerge. Okay, for example, in terms of the forecasting of the supply chain, if you do not have the proper data in hand, if you don't have the proper data governance and control, all this inventory management, everything can go wrong. So that is where now new type of risk will emerge, because now new types of risk will depend upon this AI applications being used in the manufacturing space. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, is there anything like, can you just share a simplified process of what is like from start till the manufacture, so that it will be better for understanding like what stages are we gonna discuss and further in this episode?
Very simple. For example, let's say you are a manufacturing unit, right, and you are producing let's say any number of goods. Okay, let's say for example you are creating let's say books for now. Okay, you're publishing books. So let's say you are producing 2000 books on a daily basis. Now in this case, from a traditional environment to the new environment where you now want to introduce AI. So AI will basically help you to understand the delivery of all those books into the different routes. Okay, route optimization. AI can help you with that from a supply chain perspective. Okay. Also, in order to create those books, you need a lot of raw material. Okay. So all those
Yeah.
demand forecasting, all those delivery aspects basically can be taken by AI. So that is the whole idea. Basically, introduction of the AI for having more and more
Okay.
autonomous decisions. Yes, so that you don't rely on human beings for each and everything.
Okay. What is the biggest mistake that factories make while deploying the AI? This is actually an interesting question. Like after deployment phase is actually fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, everybody treats AI like a normal software. And I think
Yeah.
the same mistakes are being made here also, treating AI like a normal software deployment. AI is not a normal software. Like we discussed so many times with AI has a mind on its own. Remember? We discussed
True.
the restaurant example also, where I told you how the restaurant behavior will change over time, right, with the
Hmm.
consumers and with the food items. Similarly,
Yes.
manufacturing teams also assume machine learning models behave like traditional, automation logics, where fixed input is equal to fixed output, but that is not the case. Okay,
Hmm.
AI systems actually evolve with the data changes. AI systems evolve over the time. So basically, common mistakes that we see here is no retraining of the AI models, no retraining with the new data sets. Okay, no approval or workflow mechanism by having human in the loop, no monitoring of any model bias issues. Okay, no rollback options basically, and no fail-safe mechanism basically. And all these are leads to basically unplanned downtime and incorrect decisions on the floor actually, where the manufacturing happens. Okay, so that is why AI governance is very
Huh.
important in these cases.
Okay. But do they monitor after deploying also?
Yes, continuous monitoring after the deployment is really important. You need to make sure that the AI is producing the right result, the results are not biased, towards a particular inclination is not there. Yes, definitely.
We have this question ahead, and I'll ask you a lot of questions related to this. So till
Yeah.
then, we have another question. Why should manufacturers structure role and responsibilities for sorry, how should manufacturers structure role and responsibilities for AI governance?
So first of all, manufacturer has to decide their own role, like we discussed with you, whether the manufacturer itself is the AI provider, are they building the AI, or are they supplying the AI, okay, to another third party. If they are building the AI or they are the suppliers, so they become the provider, like we discussed, right? So in that
Yes.
case, basically they have to design their own position now. However, if they are an AI deployer, okay, they are only using a pre-made AI for their factory or their business unit, then they become AI deployer. Okay. So then the different type of risk they have. Similarly, if they are only AI consumer, they are not even deploying the AI, they're just consuming like a factory floor operator. Okay, for that example, or basically somebody who is only reporting some sort of AI decisions that are being made on the factory level. So that is become now AI user role, AI operator role, okay, or AI consumer role. So accordingly, governance is required at all the three levels, and differently, different types of governance committee can be established from a roles and responsibility type of perspective. Okay, for example, you can have a proper AI governance committee. You can have a AI, monitoring team to basically monitor the AI, and basically all the accountability structure has to be established. Right? For example, who is ensuring what? Okay, who is responsible for revalidation of the machine learning models, retraining of the models? Everything has to be now assigned a role now. Yes, that is very important.
Okay. Is there any act to eliminate those unwanted stuff like yeah? Are you getting what I'm saying? My question.
So basically,
Is
act
there
is
any
there.
act or yeah? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, act is there. Act is basically the same. EUAI act is there. For example, any organization, if they are using the AI and if they are falling under the European region, or they are doing trade with the EU citizens, okay, and they are using AI model for that trade, so definitely EUAI act is there.
And what for India? Can we apply this in India too?
Right now we don't have it for India, but definitely, like we had DPDP a act applicable now. Very soon you will see some acts for this thing also coming up.
But possibly we'll be manufacturing AI here too in India too, right?
We are doing right now also, and that is the thing. Like for example, right now we are only relying upon ISO for 2001 and EU Act in order to get some references, because see, with the AI itself is emerging right now. It's not a
Yes.
completely out thing, right? That is
Hmm.
where creating some acts at this point will need a lot of change as well. And even if I talk about EU AI Act is also still in being introduced, and the rules are still coming
Okay.
up. Yeah, so in
Acha.
2026 also a new set of rules will also be coming in there also. So it is not yet finally completely out also. It is also coming up stage by stage.
But is ISO 42001 is sufficient for building an AI,
Yes,
or
yes.
is it enough?
Definitely it is more than enough, but again, Vidya, it depends upon how a person is implementing ISO for 2001, whether they know the right approach or not. That is really important. Okay, because having only a piece of certificate that you are ISO for 2001 certified will not solve the purpose here. Actually, here organization
How
actually have to implement proper controls and governance on the AI. Yes.
How can you help our listener with this thing if they want to learn this more about in detail? And as you tell, we have practical training there, not theoretical training. So how you will help them and how they can connect you?
Basically what we do in the training, Vidya, basically we have different machine learning models, different types of machine learning models we analyze in the training. We try to understand what are the issues with these machine learning models, how do we understand the impact for these models, how do we understand the risk around these models, what is the life cycle stage for these models. Everything we do in the training part. But for any organization who has already implemented the AI, what I would say, just get a consultation from us so that you get an understanding whether you have the sufficient controls and proper controls around AI or not. Because I think that is the most important part.
Okay. So anyone, if you need help to for better understanding this topic, do get in touch with. And how does ISO 42001 help manufacturing companies?
So this is the basically AI governance in critical industrial applications. If you see on my screen, Vidya, so these are basically the AI governance, and these are all the controls that are being established by ISO for 2001 also. Okay, so as you see on the screen, so this is the areas where uh, we have to make sure that ISO for 2001 is actually impacting the manufacturing industry. For example, AI powered procurement, I'm taking the last one just for reference. Supplier risk scoring and automated selection require governance to prevent unfair or non compliant decision. Now what does this mean? This means that if you have introduced AI for procurement, okay, for supplier, so there is a thing called supplier tiering, supplier vendor risk tiering, if you remember, right? Supplier risk scoring.
Mhm.
So if that process is automated, okay, then again you need some sort of a basically governance on that also. Even if the process is automated, then also you need to have some sort of governance to prevent unfair or non-compliant decisions. That means you can't completely depend upon AI for even the procurement as well. You need to have some sort of controls there. So these are all the areas where ISO for 2001 in the application of manufacturing industry, it brings more and more control. It brings more and more this awareness around the AI piece.
My next question, just a second. My next question is, what are the some AI use cases in manufacturing where governance is critical?
Like we saw, right? Predictive maintenance models, all the autonomous supply chain models, process optimizations, all these are basically the areas where AI can be used actually. Yes.
Okay. How should manufacturer monitor AI after deployment?
This is the important question now. So basically, you need to monitor the response time of the AI. Okay, whether the response time is is accurate as per you or not. Because I think for a manufacturing unit, the response time is really important. Okay, Second thing that you can do is basically system uptime, whether the machine learning models are actually available when you need them or not. That is again a critical factor. And model performance monitoring can be done also, where you see whether there is a model drift or not, data drift or not, like we already discussed in the case of AI, right? And what is the stability of the prediction? For example, if the prediction is being made by the AI, how stable are those predictions? How accurate are those predictions? Okay, what are the error rates in those predictions? So all these things basically need to be monitored. And also regarding sensor calibration, whether the sensors are properly calibrated or not, because see, manufacturing, it has a lot of sensors, right? And all those sensors have to be calibrated, and any changes in the environment also has to be, taken into consideration. So all these things basically are, expected from a monitoring aspect in the real world factory condition environment.
Okay. What documentation is mandatory for a strong AI governance program?
First of all, having a AI policy. Without having AI policy, though, you can't do anything. Even if you are in a manufacturing unit, or even if you are in an operational facility where you are producing a mass amount of, goods, basically having a AI policy is a must. Then having definitely defined roles and responsibilities. Okay, performing a proper AI impact assessment, performing proper risk assessment is important. Okay, human oversight is important, like we saw. Human in the loop, human out of the loop. Basically these are the things which are important, right? Human oversight
Huh.
procedures are important. Okay, so all these things are there. Okay, where you basically have to, understand how the AI is working, and you can basically monitor them.
What is your final advice for factories beginning their AI governance journey?
Try to understand the AI life cycle. If you are basically the AI creator for your own factory or for your own manufacturing unit, try to understand what are the risks associated at each and every life cycle, I would suggest. Because until and unless you do that, later it will become very difficult. Okay, so I would suggest, first of all,
Hmm.
conducting an end to end life cycle review for all the, like how is the data used, how the model is trained, how the model is tested, how the model is deployed, how the model is monitored, how the model is decommissioned. All these things I think are really important from a understanding perspective. Okay, and then on top of that, I would say you create a AI governance committee, like we discussed, like creating a AI steering committee, and making sure that any AI related risks are taken care of. Okay, and immediately start moving towards ISO for 2001. I wouldn't say you go for a certification immediately, because
Hmm.
that depends upon company to company. But at least start to understand the idea behind ISO for 2001. What does it talks about? And what are the areas where you need to work more? What are the gaps that you need to control more from a implementation perspective? These are some of the things I would suggest.
Okay, thank you so much. And this brings us to the end of this episode. And if there's one takeaway, it's this, that AI in manufacturing is powerful, but only when governed with intention, accountability, and clear operational control. As factories modernize, the organization that invest in responsible AI governance will lead a safer process, stronger compliance, and smarter decision making. Thank you for joining us. If you found this decision valuable, share this with your team, and stay tuned for our next episode where we continue shaping the future of a trustworthy AI. Until then, keep building safe, reliable, and responsible AI system. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vidya. Thank you, everyone.